Challenges, innovations, solutions. This is APAC, Australia's public affairs channel.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to start with Confucianism, because it was Confucius that said, "The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions." Therefore, I believe that we can call our first speaker this evening a superior man. He has the busiest job in running our country, but he finds the time, amongst other things, to serve as a rural firefighter, volunteer surf patroller, and invests much time to support many different charities. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Prime Minister's own words, it's not what we have to do, but what we choose to do, which is the measure of our humanity. And during the break, I confess that I feel some kinship with our Prime Minister, because we talked about a couple of things, mainly his attendance at Riverview College way back in the day. I served across the Tarban Creek ditch at St. Joseph's College in Hunters Hill. Our other connection was his beautiful wife with us this evening, Mrs. Margie Abbott. Our Prime Minister proposed to her, I do believe, after a trek along the Kokoda track in Papua New Guinea, which is exactly where I hail from, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a former Papua New Guinean. It was a very happy occasion for me to meet Kathy Wong this evening, another lady from the same town from which I was born. And ladies and gentlemen, can I say that we are extremely privileged to have him here tonight to lend his support to the foundation. Would you please help me welcome the Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Tony Abbott.
Thank you so much, Dion. It is wonderful to be here to help celebrate the Chinese New Year. It's good to be here with Senator Dastyari, representing the Leader of the Opposition. It's good to be here with Ministers Gladys Berejiklian and Victor Dominello, representing Premier Mike Baird. It's also terrific to be here with my friend and colleague Philip Ruddock, not only the father of the House of Representatives, but as a very long-serving Minister for Immigration in the Howard government, someone who has done so much to build the character of modern Australia. In his marvellous address to the Australian Parliament in November of last year, President Xi of China said something deep and significant. He said, "If you want to walk fast, walk alone, but if you want to walk far, walk together." And I am thrilled that Australia and China, that Australian people and Chinese people, that Australians of all different heritages and Australians of Chinese heritage have been walking together for almost 2 centuries. Long before the gold rushes, there were Chinese people here in Australia. Back in the 1880s, the Chinese population of Darwin was 6 times that of Europeans. There were Chinese at Gallipoli. There were Chinese in the 1st Australian Imperial Force on the Western Front in France, who were decorated for their courage and for their service to our country. And as we know today, modern Australia is inconceivable without the contribution of Chinese people. China is our most important trading partner. It is our largest source of immigrants. It is our largest source of students and tourists. So this is a very, very important relationship which I am so happy and honoured to celebrate tonight. I am particularly pleased that in November, President Xi and I were able to conclude after some 10 years of slightly tortuous negotiations, that free trade agreement which will help to set this country up for the future. This is a very, very important agreement and is the first fruit of the comprehensive strategic partnership which President Xi and I concluded between our two countries in November of last year. It's also said that when friends meet, 1,000 cups of wine cannot contain their happiness. Now, I'm not encouraging people to drink to excess this evening. Nevertheless, it is appropriate that we are joyous tonight because this is the Year of the Sheep. And the Year of the Sheep is characterised by quiet fortitude. I think that quiet fortitude is characteristic of our country, Australia, and as you all know, for many years it was said of Australia that we rode on the sheep's back. Well, the Year of the Sheep has got to be an auspicious year for a country that once rode on the sheep's back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's lovely to be amongst you, and I am honoured to help celebrate the Chinese New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Abbott, for those strong words and the marvellous work that's been done by this government to promote the relation between Australia and China. Now, ladies and gentlemen, amongst other things, our next speaker has been described as a dead ringer for a young Omar Sharif. Now, whatever your opinion of Mr. Dastyari, both himself and Mr. Sharif are undeniably glamorous-looking men. And we're grateful that he's chosen to be here tonight instead of some other red carpet event. Ladies and gentlemen, here representing the Honourable Bill Shorten, MP, Federal Leader of the Opposition, please welcome Senator Sam Dastyari.
Look, I have to say that is the best introduction I have ever had. Shun Yuen Kwe Lu. Well done. I have a very brief message from the Leader of the Opposition that I'm going to read tonight. But before I do, I just want to acknowledge what an incredible honour and a tribute for this organisation it is to have the Prime Minister here today. And I think he really does deserve another round of applause. Those who aren't involved in politics on a daily basis find it very hard to understand just the sheer amount of time constraints and pressures that comes on a Prime Minister's diary. And the fact that the Prime Minister's chosen as one of the events that he's able to get to this event tonight is a real tribute to the organisation, the work they do, and the Prime Minister's commitment to charity. Look, the Prime Minister touched on the importance of the free trade agreement, and I think what needs to be said is this. Nobody, no political party, no individual owns the Australia-China relationship, but it's a relationship that is marked by significant milestones. And the free trade agreement will be seen in history as a significant milestone, not simply because it's about jobs and it's about trade and because of the economic prosperity that it has the potential to lead to. They're all very, very important things, but importantly about the symbol of the relationship, a growing, a strengthening and an increasingly significant relationship between the two nations. And I think that's what needs to be acknowledged. I also acknowledge the federal member for Barara here, Mr. Philip Ruddock. For over 40 years, there is no single individual in the federal parliament that has done more to advocate the strengthening of the Australia-China relationship. And for all of us and new people to the Parliament like myself, Philip serves as a beacon of light and a lesson to all of us on how to behave with grace, with dignity, and the importance of building relationships over a long period of time. Thank you, Philip. And there's two people here from the government, the Minister Gladys Berejiklian and the very, very well-dressed Victor Dominello, who's outdone all of us tonight. Again, it's so great that you've been able to make time out of what is a very busy kind of election period, and certainly my very, very close friend, Ernest Wong, MLC, you know, the only Chinese Australian currently in the New South Wales Parliament. And the fact that Ernie's achievements stretch so much beyond the fact that he happens to be a Chinese Australian, but that's not what limits him, is a testament to just how close the relationship is, that people like Ernest, who weren't born here, people like myself who weren't born here, are able to come to this country, participate in the political process, maintain their culture, maintain their identity, but be Australian at the same time. So I've got a very, very brief message, if you let me indulge, from the Leader of the Opposition, who was tied up at an event tonight and couldn't be here. And Bill Shorten says, "It gives me great pleasure to send my best wishes on the occasion of the Australian Chinese Charity Foundation New Year celebration dinner. The Australian Chinese community's long prosperous history as one of the oldest migrants communities in Australia should always be recognised and remembered. The Chinese community in Australia has worked tirelessly to promote multiculturalism and build stronger relations between Australia and China in all facets of Australian life. This includes considerable achievements in fields such as science, finance, politics, and non-government organisations and charities, and the relationship between Australia and China. Thank you for your great work and the great work of the Australia Chinese Charity Foundation. May the Year of the Sheep bring you good health, prosperity and peace. Kung Hei, Fat Choi." Bill Shorten, Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Sam. And I think Omar Sharif has nothing on you. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm particularly pleased to be able to introduce our next speaker. She serves as my local member, and I think quite fittingly she's the Minister for Transport, because the lady is simply everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, she's a very good friend. Allow me to retract what I've just said, ladies and gentlemen. Gladys is still our very good friend, but we're going to be hearing firstly from a gentleman we all know. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please introduce you to His Excellency, Mr. Li Huaxin, Consul General of the People's Republic of China in Sydney.
The Honourable Tony Abbott, MP, Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Senator Sam Dastyari, representative of the Honourable Bill Shorten, MP, Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Gladys Berejiklian, MP, New South Wales Minister for Transport and Minister for the Hunter, representing the Honourable Mike Baird, MP, Premier of New South Wales, the Honourable Foley, MLC, New South Wales Leader of the Opposition, and my friends Victor and Ernest Wang and other distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to attend the banquet celebrating Chinese New Year held by the Australian Chinese Charity Foundation. Today is the third day of the Chinese Lunar New Year. On behalf of the Chinese Consulate General in Sydney, I would like to offer my warmest New Year's greetings to you. I wish each and every one of you a happy, healthy, and prosperous year of the sheep. And just now, I'm honored to accompany His Excellency, the Prime Minister, to visit the Lantern Carnival in Darling Harbour. I really thank His Excellency for his time and support for these celebrations, and I hope this is a new and bright scenery for beautiful Darling Harbour. The year of 2014 was a fruitful year for China-Australia relations. President Xi Jinping paid a successful state visit to Australia and had a very good talk with His Excellency the Prime Minister, Tony Abbott, which elevated our bilateral relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership and concluded the negotiations on the free trade agreement. In the year of the ship, we will work together with Australian friends to build an ever stronger China-Australia relationship. For a long time, the Australian-Chinese Charity Foundation's program covers a wide spectrum of the local community. I would like to pay my tribute to the chairman, staff member, and the volunteers of ACCF for their contributions and the devotions which has made the ACCF one of the best charity organizations in New South Wales. I would also like to acknowledge the community leaders, sponsors, and entrepreneurs for their generosity and in supporting ACCF. I'm sure that with the assistance and support from government at all levels, from all spectrum of communities, the Australian Chinese Charity Foundation will make greater success in the year and the year ahead. Once again, my best wishes in the year of the ship. We know, and His Excellency just now mentioned that Australia is a country riding on ships' back. So we know the importance of a ship, wool, land, for Australia and for the world. So may the year of ship bring us happiness, prosperity, and good health. Thank you.
Thank you, Consul General Li Huaxin. Now, ladies and gentlemen, back to our normal programming. I'm most pleased to be able to introduce you to a very, very good friend of the Chinese community. I'm particularly chuffed because she is my local member and has been doing an excellent job in her Ministry for Transport, albeit she was late tonight. It was a train problem, yes. Clearly, the lady can take a joke. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to introduce you to the New South Wales Minister for Transport. Please welcome the Honourable Gladys Berejiklian.
Thank you, Dion, for those kind words. 女士们、先生们，大家好，新年快乐，恭喜发财。谢谢，谢谢。Distinguished guests, Prime Minister Mrs Abbott, Sam Dastyari, Philip Ruddock, my ministerial colleague Victor Dominello, to Ernest Wong, and can I also acknowledge former parliamentarians Dr Helen Shamho and Dr Peter Wong, who continue to make such a contribution to community life. It is an absolute pleasure to be here on behalf of the Premier Mike Baird and on behalf of all of our parliamentary colleagues on both sides of the aisle, because tonight is a night where we come together to celebrate all that is fantastic about the relationship we share between Australia and China, but more importantly, the personal relationships we share with each other. And I was very pleased to join the Premier, the Consul General, and many others just this week when the Opera House again turned red. Now, to me, this is an enormous symbol of not just the economic and trade relations we have with each other, but the personal relations we share as people. And that, to me, is a symbol of how strong that relationship is, and the fact that we celebrate Chinese Lunar Year not just in Chinatown, but in Hurstville, in Parramatta, in Strathfield, in Chatswood, just demonstrates what an important time it is for all of us as Australians, to celebrate this wonderful occasion. I also want to acknowledge Sam Chu and everybody associated with ACCF, because ACCF is here hosting us today at this fantastic event, but they're also there when things are tough, supporting those most vulnerable in our community, and I know the proceeds from tonight go towards their efforts. So congratulations to ACCF. Thank you for being such good Australian citizens in helping those in need, and it's a wonderful honour to be here to celebrate in all of your companies. So thank you very much. Again, Shinyan Kwai Le. And Dion, I think you've outdone yourself as being the fantastic MC, so thank you also, and the affection is mutual. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Gladys. I've been waiting a long time to hear those words. Thank you kindly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move to a gentleman who is known to us all. Senator Sam Dastyari referred to him earlier. He's a champion of our community. I ask you to welcome the Honourable Ernest Wong, MLC. Tonight he represents the Honourable Luke Foley, MLC, New South Wales Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you very much, Dion. He's doing a great job. I really love him. I really do. First of all, of course, I have to acknowledge all the parliamentarians, in particular, the Honourable Tony Abbott, Prime Minister of Australia, and also Senator Sam Dastyari, representing the opposition leader, Bill Shorten, and also someone that I really need to acknowledge because he is someone that I really, really respect and that does actually deserve our true respect, particularly when it comes to multiculturalism, when it comes to all ethnic communities. The Honourable Ruddock, a very good friend. And also to my state parliamentarians, Minister Gladys Berejiklian, Minister Victor Dominalo, where we shared a very good time in Israel. And also to, of course, a very good friend of all of ours, not only to the Chinese community, but also to the Australian community, His Excellency Mr. Li Huaxing, the Consul General of the People's Republic of China in Sydney, and all my fellow councillors, all the distinguished guests, one and all. Now, first of all, I have to convey the apology from Luke Foley, where he wants me also to wish you all a very happy, prosperous year of the Ram. Now, I would like to take this opportunity actually to thank or to congratulate the Australian Chinese Charity Foundation, which I have actually associated with for a long, long time. All those years, the tireless work they have done for the people in need, and all those money they've raised for those organizations or other people where they're all the beneficiaries. So thank you very much for your hard work, not only to Sam Chu, the president, but also to the previous ones where I'm pretty sure Hudson is around, Hudson, Benjamin Chow, Dr. Peter Wong. And we are celebrating Chinese New Year everywhere, as what Gladys just said. Every council, all institutes, all organizations, everywhere. We are so happy to see it. But we don't take it for granted. As a matter of fact, they're attributed to a lot of work, hard work of all our earlier Chinese migrants who put in a lot of work to make this being recognized. A Chinese culture, a Chinese New Year. Now it's being celebrated everywhere. Now it's being celebrated. Pretty sure everyone would be able to say a few words in Chinese greeting the Happy New Year. But that is actually the work of a lot of people who then make it become integrated into the culture of Australia. And that also takes a lot of understanding from people from different cultural backgrounds to take this and accept this. And this is what we're all proud of being Australian, the multiculturalism. And that is something that we should work very hard to make sure that that is in the heart of every Australian that now we're all living on the same land. We celebrate Chinese New Year not only because we do have line dance, we have very beautiful food and drinks, we have got lanterns, but we do celebrate Chinese New Year because it does reflect the value of what we Chinese really treasure. The value of loyalty, fidelity, I'm not saying obedience, but respect to the elders, sharing, giving. And then the most important thing is that we always try to look ahead. We don't look back. We don't care what has happened because that's already gone. So we have to look ahead. We have to put in new hope whenever there is the Chinese New Year. And that's something that we all celebrate. And that's something that we would like to share with everyone in Australia, how we value things and how we treasure things. So once again, I would like to wish you all a very happy new year. I will say something in Chinese. 恭喜發財，祝大家羊年進步，事事順利，身體健康。多謝晒 ，thank you。
Thank you very much, Ernest, for enunciating so wonderfully the values of Chinese New Year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the last speaker for this evening. He's a director of the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office, and I dutifully serve under his directorship at the Hong Kong Australia Business Association. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please put your hands together for Mr. Arthur Au.
The Honourable Tony Abbott, the Honourable Senator Sam Dastyari, the Honourable His Excellency Lee Kwa Sin, the Honourable Gladys Berejiklian, the Honourable Ernest Wong, the Honourable Philip Ruddock, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office, I wish you all a happy, healthy and prosperous year of the Ram. 我謹代表我哋香港經濟貿易處，恭祝各位新年快樂，身體健康，人人心想事成，日日喜氣洋洋。The year of the Ram is the 8th sign of the Chinese zodiac. In Chinese, 8 means 法, that means wealth. Let me share with you about the triple A's about the Hong Kong-Australia relationship. The first A is about business. With the support of the mainland China, Hong Kong is now the 8th largest trading entity, with total trade overshooting $1 trillion. Our investments in the Australia has also reached over $38 billion. The second A is about people. There are now about 80,000 Australians living in Hong Kong. At the same time, there are also about 80,000 Hong Kong-born people living in Australia. The third 8 is about the koalas. There are now the 8 koalas living in Hong Kong. And the 68 million people, including both Hong Kong residents and many mainland tourists, they are now keenly awaiting the koalas' debut in our ocean park next month. And I wish you all, just like the Hong Kong-Australia relationship, will score triple A's in the year of Ram and use your A's to support the ACCF's activities to help those who are in need in our community. 最後，我謹祝大家喺羊年就好似香港同澳洲嘅經貿關係一樣，發發發。同埋最緊要係繼續慷慨解囊，支持澳華公益金嘅活動，幫助社會上有需要嘅人士。多謝各位。
Thank you, Mr. Arthur Au, and what a wonderful way to finish off our speeches with a reminder to be generous and support the activities of the Australian Chinese Charity Foundation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say a very big thank you for your very kind attention during the speeches. And we'll be moving in a minute on to some photo sessions. In the meanwhile, just to thank you again, and please enjoy your evening. We'll be back with you shortly. Thanks so much.
Challenges, innovations, solutions. This is APAC, Australia's